This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we discussed about, we're discussing mainly hash code and the two-string method. So if you observe, and we have discussed some one program on this two-string and hash code method as well, and the programming flow also we have discussed, right? So now let us discuss importance of a two-string method. So one more point is there which is pending from two-string method. So that thing just we need to discuss, and as well as a program. So in Java applications, if we pass any reference variable as parameter to just system.out.println. Okay, if you pass any reference variable means, so whenever if you are creating an object, for suppose a some small is equal to new a, right? That small a is nothing but what we're calling as a reference variable, right? So now if you pass this reference variable to system.out.println, so what is going on at backend? So we're discussing that concept. Okay, so system.out.println method. So then JVM will access toString method on the provided reference variable. Okay, in Java applications, if you pass any reference variable as parameter to system.out.println method, then JVM will access. Okay, then JVM will access toString method on the provided reference variable. Okay, so for suppose here I am creating an object like this. So if you observe previously, right, previous program, so what we have done, strings on reference variable is equal to a dot toString. So like this we have called in previous program, right? And system dot out dot println reference variable. So nothing but whenever if you are whenever if you are executing this statement by JVM, so we are going to get the reference value for a particular object. So instead of writing like this, right? So if you simply write like this, system.out.println a, it is also same. Okay, so whenever if you are executing this statement, or whenever if you are writing this statement, so JVM is going to call toString method of object class. It is also same. Okay, so what we are now what we are doing is, so how many ways we can call toString method, that is important. Okay, how many ways we can call the toString method, so that thing we'll discuss now. Before that, so we can conclude one more point. So in this case, JVM will search for toString method in the respective class. If it is not available, then JVM will search for toString method in explicit superclass. Still, toString method is not available, then JVM will search and execute toString method in object class. So this flow of execution, so we have discussed on yesterday. Okay, so if you observe this toString and hashcode method, what is the programming flow or what is the execution of the program we have discussed on yesterday. The same point just have repeated here. Okay, so now we discuss a program on toString method. I mean, how many ways toString method is called. Okay, let us discuss on that.
This conference will now be recorded.
So now if you observe here, just I have created an object for class A. So this thing which we discussed on yesterday, right? And this is the one way, I mean, if you want to get a reference value for a particular object, and this is the second way, if you want to get a reference value for a particular object, and this is the last way. Okay, so here if you observe this last way, so just we are passing a reference variable of an object to system.out.println. Okay, so now if you try to execute this program, so Java C test6.java and Java test6. So here if you observe here, what is the output? So value, I mean reference value for this object is the same. Only here you need to observe is, so just we are calling toString method in different ways. Okay, this is the one way for calling of toString method of a particular object, and this is the second way, and this is the last way. And here if you observe, we are calling toString method on the same object. Okay, that is the reason here toString value is also same. There is nothing difference if you observe. Okay, I hope this concept is clear. Is it clear?
Yes, Shiva. Good.
Shiva, I have one question. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if we have an instance variable or instance method inside a class A, and if we call that method or instance variable uh, after creating the uh, constructor in any of the lines, like in line number 13, instead of A, if we give A dot some sample method like m1 of, if we give like that, uh, will it still call the toString method, and the toString method will contain all the values of m1 method?
I did not get your code exactly.
For example, if we have m1 method inside class A,
So
and
let me write it.
okay,
Void M1.
yeah, and inside this one, if we have some sample text system dot how dot println hello.
Mm-hmm.
So in line number 15, if we call this method a dot, line number 16,
Mm-hmm.
a dot m1 of, it will print that hello, right?
Yes.
So in this
Only
case,
if you are passing only reference variable instead of calling like this, then only it is going to call toString method. Otherwise, it will not call.
yeah, that's what. So if we are calling a method in this case, it is not going to call the toString, right? It is.
It will not. It will not.
Oh, okay. So whenever we are calling that reference variable, then only
Then
that
only it
toString
will
will
call.
be okay. Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay, fine. So now we are discussing one more point which is related to toasting. This is very important and even very implementing in real time as well. So in Java applications, any difference variable as parameter to system.out.println method, then JVM will access object class toasting method. It will display object reference value, but as per the application requirement, we want to display the respect to entity details instead of object reference value. So here entity is nothing but a class. So here what is my requirement is, so you know that any reference variable as a parameter to system.out.println method. So JVM will access or JVM will call object class toString method. This thing you know. So it will display object reference value. But as per the application requirement, if you want to display the respect to entity class details or entity details instead of object reference value. Okay. So how can we achieve this thing? You got my point, right? So generally, if you are passing system.out.println small a to this system.out.println method, so just is going to display the object reference value. That's it. But instead of displaying this object reference value, right? So just I need to get the entity details information. I mean class level information. How to get it? Okay, that thing now we are discussing. So to achieve the above requirement, we have to define our own toString method in the respect to entity class. In this case, JVM will execute our own toString method instead of executing object class toString method. So these 2 points are important. To achieve the upper requirement, we have to define our own toString method. Okay, so we have defined our own toString method means, so if you observe this, so here you know that each and every class by default it is having a superclass called as an object class. Object is a predefined class. In that object class we're having a toString method. So now whenever if you are writing our own toString method within this class A, right? So here how this programming flow. So whenever if you're calling a dot toString, right? So a is a reference variable of which class? Class A. Now within this class A, do we have toString method or not? We don't have. So what is the immediate superclass for this class A? Nothing but a object class, which we discussed on yesterday clearly, right? So now object class toString method is going to call. For suppose now if we are defining our own toString method, right? So it will not call object class toString method. So it is going to call our own toString method class. Okay. So based upon this, we will see one program. Then you're going to get some more information. So now here, see here, I have defined some class employee. Within this class employee, I have defined some three variables: employee ID, employee name, and employee salary, or maybe some employee address. So just here, if you observe these two lines of code, just I have created an object for employee, and just I have passed some reference variable, I mean EMP, right? So now here, whenever if you are passing like this, so EMP is a reference variable of which class? Employee. Now within this employee, do you have toString method or not? Yes, we're having a toString method is there. Okay, so now if you observe this toString method, I mean logic or toString method body, so just we are displaying some employee details. Within that, we are displaying these variable names, I mean EID, ENAME, EADDR. Now it is going to print this respect to value. Okay, so let us execute this program. So Java C test7.java Java test. So here it is displaying. But suppose I am, I mean, I am not providing any toString method within this class employee. Now observe here. So this is nothing but a reference value for this particular class. So class name at the rate of some value. Yesterday I have discussed, right? So here my class name is employee. Employee at the rate of some value. Here this is the means if you are providing a toString method within this class employee, so definitely it is going to call our own toString method. If you are not providing, then only it is going to call object class toString method. This is a very important point. Okay, is this point is clear, all of you? Any doubts? What are the program or what are the flow of execution which you discussed?
This conference will now be recorded.
So next concept is constructors. So constructor is a Java feature. It can be used to construct the objects. The role of constructors in object creation is to identify memory size and to provide initializations for the object. Okay, the role of constructors in object creation is to identify object memory size and to provide initializations for the object. If you observe here, I think day before class, we discussed about syntax to create an object. So in that, I have specified some. This is nothing but what is a constructor, right? So the importance of this constructor now we are discussing. Okay, what is the importance of a particular constructor we are discussing now. Okay, so the role of constructors in object creation is to identify memory size of a particular object, and even if you observe this initializations part, constructor is also one of the it is one of a role which is going to initialize some values for instance variables. If you observe in syntax of creation object, we discussed three concepts, right? So creating memory, generating identities, and providing initializations. So in providing initializations, somewhere I have touched with the constructor. I have mentioned some constructor word. So now the importance of the constructor, now we are discussing here. What is exactly constructor? Okay. Constructors will be utilized to provide initializations for the class level variables at the time of creating an object. Okay, constructor will be utilized to provide initializations for the class level variables at the time of creating an object. Constructors will be executed at the time of creation of objects, not before creating object, not after creating an objects. Okay, so when there is a chance of executing the constructor. Okay, so whenever if I creating an object, so parallelly constructor is also going to be executed, not before or not after the executing the object. That is the meaning. Constructors should have the same name of class name. So here whatever the class name in which you are defining, right? For creating a class, you are defining some name, right? So constructor also should be the same name. So for suppose assume that my class name is first, constructor name also be first. You see. So if we observe, I mean if you define some class name as a maybe some I mean, my class name is maybe some Java future. My class name itself is Java future. Constructor name should be a Java future. So if we are providing there is some different constructor name when compared with class name, it is not a constructor. It falls under a method. Okay. Constructor will not have a return type. It does not have return type concept. Okay. Constructors will not allow the access modifiers like static final abstract. So these access modifiers it will not allow. Constructors will allow the access modifiers like public, private, protected, default. These access modifiers it will allow. 9th point. Constructors will allow throws keyword as part of its syntax to bypass the generated exception from present constructor to call. So what is exactly this throw keyword? We'll discuss later, but at this point of time, so while using the constructors concept, so even we can use the throws keyword. So if you're defining some constructor within a class, right? So for that constructor, even we can use throws keyword. Okay, what is the clear throws keyword? We'll discuss in exception handling. At this point of time, not to worry. Syntax for constructor. Access modifier, class name, parameter list, throws exception list. So like this. This is nothing but a body. So like this, we can define this constructor concept. Okay, access modifiers followed by some class name and a parameter list, throws exception list. Okay. Note. If we declare a constructor without its class name, then compiler will not treat the provided constructor as a constructor. Compiler will treat the provided constructor as a normal Java method, as a normal Java method without the return type. Without the return type. Compiler will raise an error like invalid method declaration, return type required. So observe this note point. So if you declare a constructor without its class name, so if you observe the previous points, so if you want to define a constructor, so here whatever the class name we're having, if we assume some class name as a test, so constructor name should be also be same. Okay, but here we have assumed that if we declare constructor without its class name, then compiler will not treat the provided constructor as a constructor. Compiler will treat the provided constructor as a normal Java method. Okay, without the return type. So if you are defining a, if you are defining a constructor without a class name and it is not having any return type, right? So then compiler will raise an error like this: invalid method, invalid method declaration, return type is required. Something like this. This type of error is going to be displayed. If and only if you are not providing class name same as a constructor name. Okay. So if we provide return type to the constructor, return to the constructor and compiler and JVM will treat that constructor as a normal Java method which satisfies method syntax. So if we provide return type to the constructor, right, then compile and JVM will treat that constructor as a normal Java method. Okay, so it will not treat as a constructor. So now here you need to observe two things. So if you are not defining constructor with the same class name, then it will not be treated as a constructor. That is a one point. And one more point is this is the respective point. So if you are providing some return type for a particular constructor, then JVM or compiler will not treat that method as a constructor. It will treat it as a normal method. But these scenarios will go through this programmatically. Then you're going to get some more awareness what is going on. Okay. So if this is the case, so in this case, compiler will not raise any error and JVM will not raise any exception. They will not raise any exception. One more note. Java methods may allow the same class name as method name. Okay, Java methods may allow the same class name as a method name. Okay, so it may allow. So here if you observe, so what are the class name we're having? So for constructor also we need to define the same name. But how can we identify whether it is a constructor or a method? So I'm saying that even whatever the constructor name we're having, whatever the class name we're having, right? So it can be same name as a method name also. Sometimes it is possible. But how to differentiate whether it is a constructor or a method? So the only one way we can define is by observing the return type. So if it is having some return type, it will not comes under what we call constructor. It will falls under a method. Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
So now observe this program, right? So do we have a constructor within this program or not? Do we have constructor within this program or not? Hmm, it is a default. Somebody SV2, yes, 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 yes. I mean, most of your S is the answer. Most of you give it. Okay, so we don't have Option is no. So all of you say it as yes. Okay. So first of all, here we don't have a constructor within this class here. So I have told you this. If you observe this couple of points or the points which I have explained you. So first look point is whatever the class name we're having, right? Constructor name should be a same. I mean my class name is first means constructor name should be a first. That is the one thing. Okay. And second thing. So here one more controversy is nothing but whatever the class name we're having. So even we can define the method name as well, right? But suppose my class name is class A, my method name is also it can be A. But how to identify whether it is a method or a class? Simple thing is if it is does not have any written type. I mean if it is like this, then it is a constructor. So if you're having a like this, then it is a method. So that is the reason here I'm calling method as a dot a. Okay, that is the final output we're going to get. Okay, but suppose if I'm not defining like this, right? So when it is going to execute here, so we noted this statement first of all. So whenever this object creation is going on, right? Not before creating an object, not after creating an object. Parallelly, this construct is going to execute, and finally you're going to get some output as an acorn. So if you observe this scenario, now this scenario. So here make it as a void. So try to execute this program. Java C test 8.java. I think we are not at save. Test 8. Here previous output as icon. So now here I did not provide some written type. Now it is nothing but a constructor. If you observe, it is same name as a class name. So now when the constructor is going to create, whenever if you're creating an object, right? Not before, not after, parallel. So now try to recompile and re-execute. So this is the output. Okay, first of all, here we don't have the concept of constructor. That thing you need to identify. So is it clear, all of you?
Yes, Shiva.
So I hope this concept is fine, all of you. So how to identify within a class do we have constructor or not? Okay, if we don't have constructor, definitely we're having a method. So here only one confusion point is, so here for constructor or a method, okay, for constructor it should be a same class name. Whatever the class name we're having, it should be a same class name. But if you observe, one more thing, I mean nothing but a method. So whenever for a given a method, if you are having some nothing but void m1, right? So then you're going to find that thing as a method. Okay, identifying method and a constructor is very, very important. Okay, I hope this concept is clear for you. Okay, the nothing but what is exactly, I mean, what are the points which were discussed here? So here some more note points is there. So if we declare any constructor as private, then we have to otherwise first we'll discuss access modifiers. Access modifiers like static final abstract. So then compiler will raise an error like modifier is not allowed here. Modifier is not allowed here. What are the modifiers which are defining? If I declare any constructor as a private, then we have to access that constructor within the same class. It is not possible to access. It is not possible to access that constructor in the offsite of the respective class. Okay, so is these two more points is fine? Any doubts? Nothing. If you declare the maximum of like static and final, it is not possible. If you declare a constructor with private, so within the class only we are able to access, not outside of the class. That is the thing. These are the two important points what we're having.
This conference will now be recorded.
So this is nothing but how to identify a constructor or when it is calling that respective constructor, and if you're defining some access modifiers or if you're providing some private for a particular constructor, right? So within the class only we're able to access. So these couple of points we have discussed. So now In Java, there are two types of constructor. One is a default constructor and second one is user defined constructor. Okay, one is default constructor and one more thing is user defined constructor. If we provide any constructor explicitly in any class, then that constructor is called as user defined constructor. So if we provide any constructor explicitly in any class, right, then that constructor what we are calling as a user defined constructor. Okay. There are two types of user defined constructors. One is zero argument constructor and the second one is parameterized constructor. Okay, so within this user defined we are having two more constructors. One is zero argument constructor and one more thing is a parameterized constructor here. Okay, so what is zero argument parameters we will discuss now. Zero argument constructor, it is a constructor without parameters provided by the developers as per their application requirements. Now one more thing is parameterized. It is a constructor with at least one parameter, parameter provided by the developers as per their application requirements. And they want a parameter and argument here. Okay. So now if you observe this hierarchy, complete constructor hierarchy, you're going to get a complete picture. So first of all, we're having a constructor. So this is the hierarchy. So first of all, within the constructor, we're having two things. One is default constructor and user-defined constructor. Within the default, we're having zero argument constructor, and within this user-defined also, we're having a zero argument constructor. And one more thing is a parameterized constructor. So once if we go through the example, we're going to get a complete picture what is going on. So now within this class, I mean here my class name is a class account. Do we have constructor or not? So if you're having constructor, which type of constructor it is? All of you. Did you
Yeah,
get my
we
question?
have three. Yeah, I think we have three constructors.
We have
Three constructors.
three. First of all, how many constructors we're having within this class?
Um, I think three. No.
No.
Um,
So sure, this is it's one only one constructor we have, right?
Yes, only one constructor. And which type of constructor it is?
Parameterized.
How many parameters is expecting?
Three.
Three.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the programming flow?
While it is creating that object, it is passing that what is that ABC 123 Durga savings to that constructor, and it will be, yeah, at the time of creating the object, it will be printing that account number one, one, account type, and then yeah, that's it. And finally it prints account ACC. So which is the ACC? ACC. Yeah, that's it. It will print. Sure.
Yes. So here, nothing here. First of all, here if you observe, it is the same name account. So we are having a constructor. So it does not have any return type. So that we can say that we are having only constructor. It is a not a method. Okay. And it is not allowing some access modifiers. Nothing but static. This access modifier is not allowing, but it is allowing public, private, protected, and default. So we have defined a public. It is allowed. So now here, what is going on is, so when there is a chance of executing the constructor here, whenever if you are creating an object, not before, not parallel, whenever the object creation is going on, parallelly, constructor execution is going to be done. So now here I am passing three parameters. Why I am passing a three parameters means, so if you observe this constructor, it is also expecting a three parameters of data type as in string. That is the reason here whatever the values which are passing, that is the value of this respective variables. I mean account number one, account name one, and account type. Here whatever the values which I am passing, that thing I am storing in this instance variables. So here account number value is nothing but ABC123, account name Sundar, account type is savings, like that. Okay. And here if you observe 33 statement, system.out.println ACC. So if you observe the ACC is nothing but a reference variable of which class account. So now within this account, do we have toString method or not? As we're having a toString method is there. So that is the reason whatever the values which is having by account number, account name, and account type, these values is going to be displayed here. So if you don't have this toString method, then it is going to call object class toString method. So is this program flow is fine, all of you? Any doubt in this? So this is the respect output. For suppose here I am not providing toString. Here in a reference value, class name at the rate of some value, nothing but account at the rate of some value. But here we are providing the toString method. So if you understand the previous concept toString method which you have discussed, so it will be easy now. If you are not understand, so it will be somewhat difficult for you.
This conference will now be recorded.
So default constructor is a 0 argument constructor provided by the compiler whenever we are not provided any constructor explicitly. Compiler will provide the argument constructor always compiler will not provide parameter constructor as a default constructor. In Java, default constructor is provided by the compiler, not by JVM. So now if you observe this program, this is different. Okay, let us write one more program to understand this default constructor. Class some test. Java C test dot Java. Now Java P test. So Java P मतलब profile for the respective class, right? Just I want to know profile for this class test. So here class test. If you observe here, this test is nothing but what we are exactly calling as a zero argument constructor. Okay, or we can say that it is a default constructor. So have not done any execution phase. If you observe, have done only at compilation phase. So this constructor is always going to provide a compiler. It is a zero argument default constructor, which is always provided by compiler is not provided by JVM. Okay. So is it fine? There is a zero argument constructor. So in Java, always default constructors are zero argument constructors, but all the zero argument constructor need not be default constructors. Some zero argument constructors are provided by compiler and some other zero argument constructors are provided by user explicitly. Okay, this is the one more note point. If we provide more than one constructor with the same name and with different parameter list, then it is called as constructor overloading. Okay, so this is very important entry question as well. If you provide more than one constructor with the same name but with different parameter list, then it is called as an constructor overloading. Okay, so this is the example. So all of you need to answer. So how many constructors we're having within this class?
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so now here we're having a three constructors. Okay, so this is one, and this is one more, and this is one more. And if you observe this, each and every constructor, they're having a different parameters. That concept what we're exactly calling as a constructor overloading. Okay, let me save it. So this is the respect output. Zero open constructor, string parameterized constructor, string comma string parameterized constructor. So here we're having a three constructors. That is the reason I'm creating three objects. So is it fine? These things, all of you. Any doubts till now? I mean, what are the constructors concept which are discussed? Fine. Okay. So this thing we have done, constructors.